This is actually quite important. If you follow Ripple on social media, on X for example, you will see that they take this very seriously. They've got this pinned message on their X account, which they did on the 23rd of July, and it's a PSA. We've noticed an uptick of XRP scams on YouTube. Scammers are stealing accounts and then updating the page to impersonate Ripple's official account, username Ripple. Reminder, Ripple, our executives will never ask you to send us XRP. Absolutely crucial. Our official accounts are listed here. If you click here, you get a whole list of Ripple's official accounts and what have you. Anything outside of this, absolute scam. Even if the accounts are on this list, it might be that they've impersonated someone. Just remember, never ever send XRP anywhere. This is classic advanced fee scams or advanced fee frauds. Those of you know what I mean. So never ever, there's no money doubling, there's no free money anywhere. Best to avoid scam. But you know, the community is rising to the challenge, because these days, as we are approaching the parabolic run on XRP, you know, everybody's getting ready. You are getting ready, Ripple's getting ready, you know, retail's getting ready, the institutions are getting ready, and the hackers and scammers are definitely getting ready. Now, because blockchain is so secure these days, a lot of the technological scams and hacks are actually very, very difficult to enact. Most of the scams are now done usually by social engineering, hacking the person rather than hacking the technology, because the person is much easier to hack, believe it or not, than technology. Social experiments have shown that, you know, a lot of people would give their password away to someone if they just asked for it. You know, people give their passwords away in emails and stuff. But even people become more savvy, they can impersonate people, get you to click on things on emails, you know, show as Brad Garlinghouse. Especially now with AI, things are only going to get worse. So it's interesting that Ripple is on top of this stuff and warning people, but it's even more interesting that the community itself is doing something about it. Now, we're going to talk about that in a moment, what the community is doing on the engineering level to help protect against these scams and hacks. But first, let's have a quick look at the market. We have returned to $4 trillion in market cap, which is a good sign. That is kind of a psychological number in my head. Obviously, it's a round number, 4 trillion. We're above it by 0.01, which is good. We're now also at neutral, bang in the middle, 50, which is exactly neutral, because people are starting to get a little bit more positive thanks to maybe some of the data that came out, the consumer index in the United States, and people expecting, you know, definite cuts coming. You know, there are different estimates of what the cuts are going to be, but both scenarios are relatively dovish and encouraging for the traders. So that is improving sentiment. Bitcoin itself hits 115,000 each at some point this morning. It's dipped slightly since then, but it's moving, you know, upwards generally. XRP also slightly awake, absolutely defended that support and now looking good, looking to prepare to move into the upside. Ethereum did slightly better than the other two in the last 24 hours, but XRP has been the winner this week when it comes to recovery, doing 7%. Solana, of course, soaring at 15% in the last week or so, in the last 24 hours, and being the big winner in the top 10 list. Dogecoin being the winner for the week. So that having been said, things are looking up. Things are looking a little bit more green today. As you can see, this is a 24-hour sort of view. Solana looking impressive. The usuals, Bonk, Pengu, and M absolutely outperforming everybody. Always the small caps that are doing well in the last week or so. Boom! This thing came out of nowhere to kick everyone's behind. Man, that's over a 10x in 7 days. I have no idea what this damn thing is or what it does, but it seems to be some sort of new coin, micro cap that everyone's jumped on. Probably early buyers are going to dump soon if they haven't already dumped. I never ever go anywhere near something that's pumped this hard already for fear of being exit liquidity. WLD doing pretty well too. Anyway, let's get to the meat of the matter. So what is the community doing about this? There is an amendment. This was actually submitted almost a year ago now, 2024 September, and it highlights what this is. It's called Firewall, and it's an amendment to the XRP Ledger to defend against scams and hacks. And I absolutely love this because this is going to put the XRP Ledger even farther ahead of other blockchains as the most secure by far when this thing gets implemented, especially from the retail's point of view. But before I talk about that, I just wanted to show you this website. This is called XLS.XRP xrpl.org. It's publicly available. It's one of the websites that I keep looking at to learn about some of these engineering level stuff, amendments to the XRP Ledger. You can do the same. The English in here is very simple. It's not actually very techy. If you want to dig deeper into the techie stuff, you can follow the authors and look at their GitHubs and look at the actual code that they're writing. Everything is like really in the open. If you want to join, you can. If you know a bit of programming, you want to contribute to the XRP Ledger, you can also do this. You can also sign up and start, making amendments. People vote on it, etc. You can see some of the ones in the past. They categorized, amendments, community, protocol, etc., etc., etc. You can see what status they're in. Final, draft. This one is in draft mode, the one I'm talking about. You can see here when it was created, some new ones that were created here. If you look at the authors, you can follow them, see their past work, etc. Okay. If you click on the firewall one, this is the one we're talking about today. It takes you to this page, which gives you an overview of what everything is that's been put out there. It's an entire document. I'm going to read the important parts from our point of view. First of all, like I said before, this is a year-old amendment that's been worked on. You can look at the code if you go to the GitHubs. And it's called Firewall. And this proposal introduces a new security feature for the XRP Ledger, referred to as Firewall. The proposed Firewall feature allows account owners to configure time-based, value-limited safeguards on ongoing transactions. These restrictions ensure that even if a private key is compromised, an attacker cannot immediately drain the account, giving the owner time to secure their assets. Very, very amazing. The firewall will integrate seamlessly with existing transaction flows and is an optional feature, very important, that users can enable at their discretion. I love that. Additionally, the proposal outlines the creation of a whitelist mechanism, allowing trusted accounts to bypass the firewall restrictions to strike a balance between security and usability, allowing the feature to be configured so that it does not interfere with genuine day-to-day transactions. The feature is particularly beneficial for retail users, as you and me, and small enterprises, offering a simpler alternative or a complement to multi-sig protection. Okay, let's just chat about that, what we just read there, that blurb. So what it's saying is, first of all, it's targeted at you and I, the retail. So this doesn't apply to centralized exchanges. If you have your crypto on centralized exchanges, your XRP, first of all, not your key, not your crypto. That's one. So anything could happen. They could cancel your account, close down your account, etc. Second of all, the security layer is taken care of by the exchange. So whether it be Binance, Coinbase, because actually they view the crypto as theirs. So they protect the keys, they do all that sort of stuff. Your responsibility is to safeguard the username and password. Okay, if somebody were to be able to steal your username and password, get into your account and make away with your money, unless Coinbase or one of those centralized exchanges is benevolent and offer you some kind of protection, perhaps they have some sort of insurance or whatever, perhaps they can help you trace it, maybe get your money back, etc. But they are under no obligation to do any of that, at least the ones that I use. So it is, the onus is on you to ensure that your tokens are safe, your password is safe, etc. But if you store your crypto locally, perhaps on a warm wallet on your phone or a cold wallet or a paper wallet, whatever it is, you are hackable if your keys ever got compromised. Let's say you wrote them down somewhere, someone found them, or you sent it in an email, you're careless, you've got a keylogger or screen recorder, what have you, and your keys get compromised. This can protect you by giving you time to secure your wallets before the hacker drains your all your crypto and rides into the sunset, right? So it's got a few features, which again I'm going to talk about in a minute. So it gives you time. You can set a time window in which things can't happen on the account. You can set a whitelist for you to be able to move stuff to another account, or to bypass all of this stuff anyway in the first place, to ensure a smooth operation of some activities. And of course, you can set a certain amount. So you can put a cap onto how much can be moved out of your account. So you can say not more than 10% of this crypto can leave this account per day, etc., etc., etc. So let's just read a little bit more about the rationale, see what this is all about. The XRPL protocol currently does not have a native mechanism to prevent a compromised account from being instantly drained by an attacker. This risk is a substantial deterrent to the mainstream adoption of self-custody solutions. So this is one of the reasons why, for instance, institutions are seeking custody solutions from the likes of Metaco and Ripple Custody and Coinbase, because they do not want to deal with the keys themselves, because at the moment there is no real protection from sophisticated hackers that can drain millions, if not billions of dollars worth of crypto instantly with zero trace and disappear forever. That scares the living hell out of a lot of these companies is why, the custody stuff is going to be absolutely huge when this crypto thing gets rolling. So when we have an XRP ledger that has some of these securities inbuilt, even though it's targeting retail and is targeting small enterprises, you can imagine some of the larger enterprises will immediately become interested in this as well. So multi-signature, which is multi-sig functionality, was introduced to mitigate the risk by adding additional layers of authorization. However, in practice, this solution has not been widely adopted. Major XRP ledger wallets do not support multi-sig in a way that allows average users to easily benefit from the functionality. Okay, so that's been too complicated for people to adopt, especially the individual. Right? Also, the complexity of setting up and managing multi-sig account makes it inaccessible for many users. Exactly. Additionally, even multi-sig protected accounts can be drained if multiple private keys are compromised by the malicious actor. I mean, that's self-explanatory. The object of this amendment is to propose a user-friendly and secure mechanism that can be easily implemented as an alternative to multi-sig or used in combination with multi-sig for further enhanced security. When enabled on an account, it will prevent an attacker from instantly draining an account and provide the user with an opportunity to move their funds to an alternative authorized backup account. Okay, so it allows you to get your stuff out before the hackers and attackers do, because even if you're able to lock them down, once somebody else has your keys, that account is now useless. No matter how much security you can put on it, multi-sig or what have you, if somebody else has your keys, it's only a matter of time before you slip up and they take everything away from you. Now, just quickly, the overhead. In anticipation that there will need to be an efficient test at the start of each transaction to check if the firewall is active on an account. If not active, the amendment would add no further overhead. If the firewall is active, the rules would be applied as guards, which return to the normal flow as early as possible. So these are basically talking about the, overhead issues with amount of efficiency and resources on the blockchain. This bit is very, very interesting. This is the basic average flow of an attack, right? It's really quite funny. A user has their private key compromised. The attacker adds a new regular key and disables the master key. Yep. Thus locking the user out of the account. The attacker now moves the entire balance to their own wallet and their assets are lost forever. The attacker moves to Belize. They buy a yacht, seafront property, and live happily ever after while you have to go work in McDonald's. But account compromised with firewall engaged. Now with the firewall engaged, this is what happens. Already you can see the list is a lot longer. A user has their private key compromised. The attacker adds a new regular key and attempts to disable the master key. But since the firewall is engaged, the master key cannot be disabled. This is a part of the specification. So now the attacker can't disable your master key. So now they have to try different things. The attacker has account access via the PK, personal key, right? So they attempt to send the entire balance to another account without locking you out, right? Which is then blocked because the account is not on the whitelist, and either A, the user has not set an optional maximum value, or B, the user has set an appropriate value to say 500 XRP as the limit. In either scenario, the transaction fails and any further drain attempt is limited to the configured maximum value. Let's say, for instance, they even get a hold of one of your safe whitelisted accounts. They can only drain the 10% or the 50% maximum that you've already set. That's if they have access to the whitelist. It still helps you by protecting you from them draining the whole thing. If they don't have access to the whitelist, they create a random account. That account is not on your whitelist and the transaction fails. So now that saves your entire stash. The attacker tries to add their own account to the whitelist because obviously they realize that you have a whitelist, but this fails because the firewall is already engaged. Now changes to the whitelist now require the transaction to be signed by the account specified in the key. So you've already specified an account that can sign an update to the whitelist. The attacker doesn't have that, so that transaction fails as well. The attacker then decides to get the value out of the account with another transaction. So this is another way they might steal your money. For instance, they might mint an NFT and list it for sale somewhere, say on OpenSea, and then they price it at the maximum amount that you have in your wallet. So they try to buy the NFT and then accept that payment in another account. So that looks like you're paying for something via your wallet, right? That gets blocked because the firewall is engaged and the firewall doesn't allow for purchases when it's engaged. All other attempts to do it by escrow, by offer, and all the other things are also blocked by applying the same logic of a max value within defined period where the destination is not on the whitelist. And as a last ditch attempt, the attacker now attempts to delete your account and setting their own account as the destination of the balance. So there's an ability to delete an account on the XRP Ledger, and when you do so, there is an alternative or destination account that is set that your assets get automatically moved to, so you don't lose your assets. The attacker tries to do that using their own private account as the go-to. Again, account delete is forbidden under the firewall, and that is blocked as well. So the account owner can now move their entire balance to their own designated backup account, and there's nothing the attacker can do to stop it. Of course, the attacker now doesn't have the keys to your newly created backup account or the one that you've created before. Hopefully, they don't have access to that, and your funds are safe. I'm going to leave this in the description. There's a lot more to peruse and actually go through each of those things that we're talking about. You can look at the code and the logic behind it. Absolutely amazing. I'm completely excited by this sort of stuff. As you can see, being a little geek myself. But none of this is financial advice. Do your own research, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.